And we back, baby. The MMA short show. Your boy Steven Moustaris, as always. And guys, I have no idea what's going on with me right now. But, I decided today, for some random reason, that I'm going to wake up and I'm going to check Twitter. And I'm going to see on MMA Twitter how bad everybody's dogging Islam Makhachev and counting him out and saying he's not the truth and he's not that good of a fighter, all because of the Volkanovski fight. And I'm starting to sit here and actually feel bad for Islam Makhachev. I never thought I'd sit here and feel bad for a dominant I guess he's not undefeated technically, but these Dagestani fighters that are just dogs. I never thought I'd sit here and feel bad for these guys. They have the world by the balls, and yet here I am feeling bad because what the heck is up with this disrespect, man? I don't know. I mean, it probably started from the beginning, if we're being fair. I feel like it's fair to say that I think a lot of people probably thought Islam was, gifted a title shot, probably a fight or two too soon. Like, I mean, the dude, he beat Bobby Green and comes on. I mean, and don't get me wrong, with Bobby Green, win over Bobby Green, it actually is aging a lot better now than what it did at the time. But at the time, it's just another middle-of-the-road guy. He just steps in last second, and you take him out within like a minute and a half or whatever. It's like, does he actually deserve a title fight? Like, he hasn't even had a big-name fight yet. He had Drew Dober, Dan Hooker, and at the time, Arman Sarukian, who wasn't as good as he is now. But if we look at all of those wins, like, it's starting to age a lot better for Islam. But yeah, I mean, he probably definitely didn't deserve the title fight off of a Bobby Green win. And it did feel like Khabib kind of held the UFC hostage. It was like, hey, look, I'm retiring. You guys owe me this. Like, you have to give him a title shot. But look what he did. He went out there and beat Charles Oliveira, one of the most dominant champions we've seen in a while, especially at 155. That was impressive. It was a very impressive win. And I'm sitting here just laughing. Like, we're really disrespecting Islam Makhachev just because he fought another dog. What these guys were probably, I don't always believe with rankings in the pound for pound system, but this is the one that I probably actually would agree that those guys are probably the top two fighters in the world, or at least top two of, the top five fighters in the world. And it was a pound for pound fight. And it was crazy. It was pound for pound, 1 versus 2. And that's exactly what we got. And we can't forget, Islam looked phenomenal in that fight. Yeah, maybe at the end of the fight, Volkanovski, he won over the crowd. He was in his hometown. He had that dog in him. We've never seen Islam or any Dagestani like that kind of go through something like that, especially the dominant ones. But it's like, man, come on now. Both guys looked phenomenal. Both guys deserve a win that night, even though we probably picked Volkanovski because we're so used to these Dagestanis having to have one of the most dominant wins ever. But that's not fair to anybody. Like, guys, just because we're so used to them being dominant doesn't mean that they're not great fighters or they can't fight in the fire. Like, these guys are phenomenal fighters. He just so happened to fight somebody who just has the same amount of dog in him or just as much talent. Like, that fight was phenomenal, man. And the fact that we're sitting here counting him out against somebody he's already beat. And don't get me wrong, I love Charles Oliveira. I'm rooting for Charles Oliveira. I'm a big Charles fan. I've grown to respect him so much over his career. And it's like, man, even I'm sitting here like, why are we disrespecting Islam? And not to be mean to Charles, but Charles isn't the same fighter as Volk. He's not as short and compacted. He's not going to have different angles. He's not going to have the speed. He's not going to have the energy. Like, Islam Makhachev is going to outwork anybody throughout any other fight, especially at 155. The only person that he probably couldn't outwork was Volkanovski, and it just so happened to be that night that they fought. So, I don't know, man. And yeah, like I said, it doesn't help that he's, second wing. I think no matter what, it's kind of like the whole Conor McGregor thing where he's the first person to come from Ireland, and I hate to bring the Conor thing up, but it's true. Like, he's the first person to become a superstar from Ireland, especially in combat sports. And then whoever was going to come second, was going to feel like a gimmick or was going to feel like just a copy and paste type thing. And look what it happened. It happened to be Ian Gary. And I think a lot of people don't, unless you're Irish or you're an Ireland fan, like a big diehard fan, like Conor fan, you're not going to like Ian Gary. He's just a copy paste. He's literally, copying what Conor's saying. So it's not as fun. It's not genuine. And I feel like that was going to be the way regardless with Islam or whoever's going to come after Khabib. Khabib's that godfather of Dagestani wrestling, or fighting. It's like Royce Gracie, when it came to the UFC. They had so many killers over there as the Gracies. Royce wasn't even the greatest one, but that's the one they sent over here. And that's the one that just so happened to get all the love and the mainstream love and everything. So the diehards aren't going to know, the rest of the family was probably better than Royce, but we know Royce Gracie now. So any other, guy that came over, it's like, oh, okay, you're not Royce though. And that's what it feels like with Islam. It's just not fair to him. It's like Khabib was a king, was his thing, was so dominant, did everything that he ever did. And it's like, oh, okay, well, here comes his cousin that's, number two. It's just the same kind of fighter. Even though he's a way better, I think Islam's a way better striker. I mean, Josh Thompson said it, DC said it, Cain Velasquez has said it, all the training partners over there said it. I'm pretty sure Khabib probably even said it. Like, yeah, he's definitely a better striker. But nobody was as dominant as Khabib. So, I do feel bad for Islam, though. I feel like there's got to be more respect on this man's name. And I can't believe I'm sitting here saying this, sticking up for Islam Makhachev right now. But, like, guys, this guy is a killer, man. Just because he might be, from a different country or a little weird or, whatever, we just don't understand him or whatever it might be. Or he might have had just one, I can't even say an off night because he looked phenomenal that night. It was just that good of a fight. These guys were the two best fighters in the world. Somebody had to win. Somebody had to lose. And did I think Volkanovski won? Yeah. But at the same time, Islam did phenomenal stuff. He hurt Volkanovski multiple times, had his back for a whole round. Dude looked phenomenal. Every time he was in trouble, he would get a takedown. He would get he would get that position. So, like, you have to respect Islam. I think he showed how good of a fighter he truly was against Volkanovski. And I think the true fans and the true people that know the sport, like, and I'm not saying I'm the one of the people, but I'm just saying those people that actually know the sport and everything out there, which there are some of you out there, you guys know that Islam Makhachev looked even better. He's going to take another step up. That fight is something he needed. Like, it's like, it reminds me of like the Gustafsson fight, the first fight with John Jones. Like, not saying that Islam took Volkanovski lightly, but I don't think he took him as serious as he's taking 155ers and stuff. I thought he probably really thought he was going to run right through him. And those are those fights that just wake you up and go, oh, you know what? I am the king. I am really good and talent has got me very far. But this is where hard work is different. This is where, discipline is different. And then we saw John Jones go on a tear afterwards. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I think this is going to be a huge moment for Islam. I wouldn't be shocked at all if he goes out there and does the same thing to Charles. Like, as much as I love Charles, Islam is just he's a way more disciplined fighter. He's a way more, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, this guy is not going to make mistakes. Like, Charles Oliveira's biggest mistake in that last fight, he got a little too ahead of himself. He started throwing looping punches, and then he's trying to throw, like, flying knees and trying to do all these different things that ended up getting him dropped and ended up losing them in the fight. And that's something you're not going to see Islam Makhachev do. You're going to see him jab, 1-2, very nice, maybe that check hook. He's going to be very, very disciplined, very tight, very inside. Just never. He's waiting for you to make the mistakes. And guess what? Charles Oliveira is balls to the wall. Let's go. Like we just saw with the Benio Dariush fight, like we saw with the Dustin Poirier fight, like we saw with the Gaethje fight. This guy is down to brawl. And Islam Makhachev just so happens to be the guy that you don't want to brawl with, because that man's going to just bring a 2 straight down the middle. And guess what? You're sitting on your ass and you're wondering what just happened as you just got choked out. And that's that thing. And don't sleep either. Charles had some beautiful sweeps and some beautiful moments in that fight. But we just have to remember, man, Islam Makhachev is, just because he almost lost to Volk or whatever, that is crazy to me that people are sleeping on this guy. He is the truth. He is the guy. And if they fight again, I bet you we're going to see a finish, but I don't know who it would be. But I'm just saying, like, no matter what, it just happened to be that matchup. And Volkanovski, we see it. That dude is the truth. That guy is hard to hit. That dude is hard to do anything to. And Islam definitely did his part, definitely did what he needed to do that night. So, yeah, it didn't look good for him the 4th and 5th round, I guess, in the 5th round especially, where Volkanovski's on top. And it's just not fair because we're just so used to these Dagestanis being just dominant. So, I do feel bad for the guy. I can't wait for this fight. I'll probably break it down a little better here in the next couple months, a couple weeks. But, dude, I feel terrible for Islam. What is going on with this disrespect? I think he's going to really shake the world up, and he's going to remind people. So, as always, your boy, Steven Moustaris, the MMA Short Show. We in this mug. So, hey, everybody, I love y'all. And let's get it, baby. Let's get it.